Believe in Yourself, podcast 14. Judaism teaches us how to talk ourselves out of a bad mood, how to come out of depression. The famous Hillel, in Pirkei Avos, Ethics of the Fathers, chapter 1, Mishnah 14, tells us how. He says, in the most famous Mishnah that we know of, Im ein ani li mili. If I am not for myself, then who will be for me? Now let's analyze this statement of the Mishnah. Im ein ani li, mi li. If I am not for me, who will be for me? Why does Hillel use two terms for the word self? Ani and li. I and me. What is the difference between ani and li? So the Torah tells us that there are two dimensions of self. There is me, made up of my mind, my heart, my actions. This is my seichel, my intellect, my ruach, my emotions, and my guf, my nefesh. Three dimensions of self. And I also have an ani. Above the me, above the self, I have an ani. I have something called free will. I have bechira. I have the soul. According to Nefesh HaChaim, Rav Chaim Volozhner, in chapter 1, Shar Aleph, Perek Beis, he tells us that the essence of free will, the essence of bechira, is the expression of our Tselem Elokim. The image of God is expressed in the world through bechira, through free will, which means my volition, my free will, is an expression of my godliness. That's my ani. So when I'm faced, my me, my intellect, my emotions, my body are faced with a trigger, a catalyst, an event which hurts us, financial problems, or emotional problems, or relationship problems, or children problems, or issues that we're challenged with, then our feelings, our body are broken, are hurt, are depressed. How do we arise out of that? How do we arise out of the pain of the li, the myself, the body, the intellect, the feelings? By accessing our ani, which is above the li. I have an ani, I have a free will, a volition. What is that free will? That free will is a part of me which resembles Hashem. It's a part of me which resembles God. What part of you resembles God? God tells us. When God breathed into Adam a living spirit, Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chaim, he breathed into Adam, and you and I are Adam, a dimension of godliness called one of the 13 attributes of God. The 13 attributes of God are in Parshas Kisisa. After the Egel, after the golden calf, God says, just become like me and I will be able to forgive you. How do you become like God? Activate one of the 13 attributes of God that he breathed into us and you will be like Ani, you'll be like God. What are those 13 attributes? Hashem, Hashem, consistency, perseverance. Are you persevering? Is that your expression of godliness in the world? Kale, leadership, dynamic, powerful. Rachum, compassionate, taking care of people's physical needs. Chanun, chen, emotional support. Sensitive, nurturing. Erech hapayim, patience, laid back, mellow. Erech hapayim, rav chesed, giving, always helping others. MS, honesty, integrity. Notzer chesed, creativity, music, art, ideas. Nosei avon, forgiving. V'nakei, resilience. Those are God's 13 attributes that he told us about himself. And he breathed one or two or three of those into each of us. That makes us each unique. That's the ani in yourself. So when you're faced with a challenge and your body, your li, yourself is hurting, is emotionally sad and depressed, is in a bad mood, stop, breathe in, and access your ani. Access your higher self, your free will self. the part of you which resembles God, your highest attribute, the true self, that is the real you. And say, one second, I'm compassionate. I am a giver. I'm resilient. I am honest. I'm a person of integrity. I am a leader. I am empathic. I am creative. I can access my ani self and then gain a sense of pure consciousness. The ani is the level of pure consciousness. And therefore, when I access my ani and I stop and I say, oh, I'm in pain, my li is in pain. Breathe in and access my ani self. Go there, experience God. Don't just think about God. Experience godliness by accessing my ani. Look at your li self and say, what is God teaching my ani, my soul, about life through the pain, the challenge that my li is experiencing? I can disconnect, become dispassionate, learn from the pain of the me, of the self, of the myself, access the level of pure consciousness and say, what is God teaching me here? At that level of pure consciousness, nothing hurts. There was no pain. There was just learning. There was just a message. There was just a sense of, I can grow from this. And therefore I can rise above the pain. I can talk myself out of the pain of myself and come to the level of ani, my higher self, my pure consciousness. At this level, there is no pain. There is no sadness. There is no depression. There is no bad mood, because I'm learning that the me, the myself, is in pain because it's teaching the ani something. And this is a partnership between my ani and my li self. They're not in contradiction. They're not fighting with each other. They work together. My li and my ani. And therefore, when I am faced with a challenge, I stop, breathe in, access my ani self, access my I self, and say, what does God want from me here? What does God want my I to learn from my me in this case? And when I come to that level of pure consciousness, I rise above the pain and say, I can grow from this. My true self, my true highest attribute can learn from this and calm down my me. Now let's learn the Mishnah again. Im ein ani li. If I do not access my higher self, my ani, and learn to teach my me to rise above the pain, to learn from the pain, mi li, who will? Very important to realize. My mother's not coming to save me. My father's not coming to save me. My teacher's not coming. My kids are not coming. Ain't nobody coming to save you. You got to save yourself. And that's the message of the Mishnah. That's Hillel talking to us through the ages, telling us, you can rise above the pain of the me. You mean ani, li, mi li. If you don't do it, who will? And if not now, then when?